Hello, Soccer Sanchez TV. We are back. Myself, Soccer Sanchez, and Stu Gets Goals next to me. We were on air about 5 minutes ago, but a little technical hitch has meant that we had to start again. Hopefully, you guys can see us and we can get on with this analysis. As we mentioned before, Boca Juniors versus River Plate, first leg of the Copa Libertadores final, has been suspended. The weather conditions in Buenos Aires has meant CONMEBOL has had to make a big decision and actually suspend the game for today. It has been rescheduled for tomorrow at 4 o'clock Argentinian time, so I think at 7 o'clock UK time. Well, hopefully, given that the conditions are going to be just as bad tomorrow, or even worse, it could be a case of CONMEBOL really having to make a big decision whether they're going to suspend it again. As I mentioned before, I really much doubt it that they're going to do that. They're probably going to go ahead regardless of the weather conditions. It's a bit disappointing today, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a tragedy, to be honest. I was really looking forward to this final. I was telling you before we went on there that I don't see a derby like this around the world. It's nothing that we don't really see in the UK or in Europe. Coming from South America, we probably see this more in like Brazilian derbies or even in Colombia. But this derby here is like one of a kind. You get people getting stabbed, people actually dying after games when they play, and that's only in a league game. So let's talk about Copa Libertadores final, and it's probably a good thing that they haven't actually got an away. They haven't got an away section now for this game. It's quite unique because I think even the president tried to actually weigh into this and force there to be an away end for the game. But the police and the local authorities know better, and they said no, we're not going to have it this time around. We're concerned with public safety if we had Boca Juniors and River Plate fans in the same stadium, and we were aware of the barras bravas, the hooligans, the ultras on both sides. I just did a bit of research before we went on air, and even Boca Juniors ultras, they actually hold sometimes the clubs to ransom, and even their players, and even I think. They actually collect a certain fee from each player's salary. So that just shows the amount of power they wield in these clubs. Yeah.
They pretty much own the clubs. I mean, I remember seeing a documentary a few years back of the Boca Junior Ultras essentially saying they own the club. They can go into the stadium whenever they want. They don't have to ask permission, etc. Likewise at River Plate, I mean, it could be all hearsay, but I remember reading once that... when River Plate got relegated a couple of years back, the Barras Bravas actually went into the trophy room in the stadium. So they raided the pitch, went into the trophy room and actually took the trophies away. So they pretty much do rule the clubs. For those of you who don't know, the authorities, the Football Association in Argentina, actually banned away fans from games since 2013, I believe, so almost 5 years. So obviously, the president of Argentina weighing in and asking for away fans to be included in the final. I can understand his sentiment and why he wants to do that, but it really would be a risk considering the gravity, the seriousness of the game. By the way, if you're watching and you're on the chat, please let us know if you can see us. Excuse me. We had problems technically with the stream before, so do let us know. I mean, we're getting some signs here that maybe you're not seeing us.
There's too many people trying to watch us. That's the issue, Brian.
There's thousands of people. This game is so popular. Do you know what I mean?
Fake news.
Fake news. Yeah. But yeah, it's fine. I mean, if not, we'll just carry on. We'll load this up later as a video. So So anyway, we'll plow on. And before we went off air the first time round. We were actually talking about the starting lineups and our predictions for who will be playing. So if we have a look here, and there we go. The starting lineup for Boca Juniors: Franco Rossi, Lisandro Magallanes, Lucas Olaza, Leonardo Jara, Roberto Izquierdos, Wilmar Barrios, Paulo Perez, Nathan Nandes, Christian Pavon, Ramon Avila, and Sebastian Villa. We were mentioning before while I was that William Barrios was a tough tackling central midfielder who I think is a vital cog in that Boca Juniors midfield. He's improved quite a lot personally. I've seen him last few years, and I thought the first year he wasn't that great at Boca Juniors, but in the last 12 months, especially since after the World Cup, he's matured a lot. His play has been very, very good, and he's a pivotal in that midfield, as I mentioned before. You mentioned Christian Pavón earlier.
Yeah, so I think he's my stand-up player in this team. I saw him again for Argentina during the World Cup, and he played all 4 games. And rather than just focusing on Messi, I think Pavón actually staked the claim to be on that side, regardless of who's the manager. And I think at the age of 22, he's been right now linked to Barcelona. Should he have a good Libertadores final, that even further cement his claim for a move to Europe in June next year. But I mean, coming from Colombia, we also have our eyes on Wilmar Barrios and also Sebastián Villa.
Yeah.
He was signed from Deportes Tolima earlier this year, and he's done all right. He's not set the Argentina league alight, but he's actually done quite well when he's come on. He's got bags of pace on that right hand side. But as Brian said, Wilmar Barrios as well he's actually been more of the eye-catching player, not really in terms of skill or anything like that, or scoring goals. But without him, it's really hard for them to function because he's the tough tackling midfielder that they need, and sets the team nicely. And our England fans will know him, more closely from the England World Cup game back in July, when he actually, I think he put his face in Jordan Henderson's face.
Yeah.
And he was a bit of a
not in a loving way either.
Yeah, in a very unsportsmanlike behaviour. So he got some bad press from that. But yeah, it just shows that he leaves nothing on the pitch. He always puts 100% into the pitch. And Franco Rossi, the goalkeeper, so he's actually only come in the semi-final of the Libertadores.
Right.
Their regular number 1 keeper, Esteban Andrade, I think he's injured at the moment, so he's been drafted in. So the River Plate players might try and test him out and see if the occasion gets to him or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Boca Juniors. I don't know. They're one of my favorite teams in South America. So I hope they do well. I hope the game goes off without any problems as well. Like not only on the pitch but off the pitch as well. So
it's quite hopeful of you to say.
Yeah. I mean, we shall see.
I mean, I don't necessarily see anything happening in and around the stadium, but I think other parts of Buenos Aires there might be rival fans might meet somewhere. Or Las Barras Bravas might meet the actual hooligan firms from both sides might meet and scrap it out. But let's hope that doesn't happen. But I can see something happening. It's just too much of a big game for it to just come across for it to happen without any serious incidents.
Another thing that maybe slightly complicates things for the game being rescheduled tomorrow is the fact that the Argentinian league is actually still going on. So you'll get a full schedule of fixtures in the Argentinian league running alongside the Copa Libertadores final. So any games played in and around the area obviously is going to affect that. Viewing figures as well on television in Argentina will affect that as well. But I'm sure the rest of the world will obviously be watching that. So it won't be a huge problem to them. But security-wise, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Just going on quickly on the River Plate starting 11 then. We've got here Franco Armani, Gonzalo Montiel, Jonathan Maidana, Javier Pinola, Milton Casco, Enzo Perez, Bruno Zuccolini, Exiel Palacios, Gonzalo Martinez, Rafael Borre, and Lucas Prato. Just one particular player that I wanted to point out, Franco Armani, fantastic player, servant as well for former Atlético Nacional goalkeeper. He was pivotal in the success of Atlético Nacional a couple of years back. In the was it Copa Libertadores?
He's won the Libertadores once already with Atlético Nacional.
Yeah.
But I think in an interview I heard from him this week, he said that winning at the River Plate is probably the biggest. It's bigger than winning it with Nacional, and you can understand why because he's Argentinian and he also is a big River Plate fan.
Yeah.
So for him, it's a pivotal game.
And it was nice that he was recognised for his work as a goalkeeper, having been called up to the Argentinian squad. Some say he should have started that tournament right from the beginning. I think he was brought in after knockouts or after group stage. Sorry.
I think I saw him. Yeah, so he was there for the game. I can't remember which game he came on now, but I think so. It was Willy Caballero that was in goal, and he had a shocker against Croatia during that World Cup. But yeah, I recognise why people were saying that he should have started because he is a great goalkeeper. Even in like the Colombian league, he was amazing.
He was very good. I mean, I know some people will say the Colombian league is not a very powerful league, but I mean, you could see the quality regardless of the standard of the league. He was a very good goalkeeper, very agile, very commanding in the penalty box. And a big asset for River Plate essentially this season. So yeah, good on him. Another one to mention, Bruno Zuccolini, former racing and then racing player. Then he went on to play for Man City, very young player at the time. Didn't work out for him, obviously, and I think it was for most young players at Man City. And I think he went on to play in La Liga, maybe Sevilla. I stand corrected. Let me know.
Villarreal, maybe. Yeah, one of those teams.
Yeah, so it's good to see him back in Argentina, and for a massive club like River Plate, that battle between Wilmar Barrios and Zuccalini in the middle of the park will be interesting to see. And also Gonzalo Martinez, another great player, scored a lovely goal with his left foot. I can't remember who it was against now, but he's a great little player. And if I'm not mistaken, he's actually got odds on for a move.
Do you think Juan Quintero, the one that I think most people are aware of, Quintero, he's not going to start? Or is
I
he
don't
injured?
know. No, I don't think he's injured. I just think River Plate, especially being away from home in the first leg, may not want to play him just yet. He's kind of a luxury player.
Yeah.
He is an important player, to be fair. He played very well against Gremio, set up a couple of really good chances. And I don't know, I mean, personally speaking, because River are playing as the away team for the first leg, I just have a feeling he's more likely to come off the bench. Stand corrected. I mean, he's one of their best players, so for all we know, he probably will start.
Yeah, because usually it's Quintero that plays, and Martinez comes on to replace him.
Yeah.
So that's where my question came
This
from.
is the thing, though. They're both such good players that either one really is going to have to suffer.
And I think he's actually off to Atlanta United in January.
It's Atlanta, isn't it? Yeah,
Atlanta
I thought
United.
so. Yeah.
But he's using that more as a springboard into Europe. So
Yeah, Atlanta are getting some good players from the Argentine league. Then they get what was his name? Barco last year. Esquiel Barco went up to Atlanta, only 19 years old.
Okay.
And obviously the Venezuelan playing there as well. So they've got a good South American
Oh, is
contingent.
it Jose Martinez?
Yeah, that's the one.
I think he scored a record amount of goals for them.
Yeah, 32 league goals or something like that in the MLS. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see the South American contingent doing their thing over there with Atlanta United. And I think their managers announced that he's leaving. Martino? Yeah, Martino, the ex...
Gerardo Martino.
That's the one.
The Tata Martino, the one that used to manage Barcelona.
That's
and didn't do too well.
Yeah, so he's done very well with Atlanta United, but now he's going to leave. Anyway, going off topic here. And also, I know you were very impressed with Rafael Borri.
Yeah, so he's done very well since he's gone. Well, actually, he didn't start off too well at River Plate, but this season has actually kicked on and contributed a few really important goals. You might be aware of that he actually played in Europe for Atletico Madrid. He was then loaned out to Villarreal, and it didn't quite work for him there for that one season he was on loan there. I think he scored 3 or 4 goals. So he's come back to a bit similar to Quintero. He also came back from Europe, and he seems to have picked things up in River Plate quite easily, and scored some really important goals. He scored the header against Gremio that was vital in their comeback. So he's an important part of the jigsaw, and Lucas Prato as well. He's also quite important for their team.
Yeah, so it will be a good clash. I think the last game between the two, River Plate came out winners in La Bombonera in the league game.
I think they've won the last 3 games this season against Boca Juniors. So the record, things stand in their favour.
Based on that, yeah, you could say River Plate is in their favour. Looking at the head-to-head in La Copa Libertadores, so as you can see there, Boca Juniors 11 finals in the competition, with River Plate with 6. Boca 6-time winners, River Plate 3. The last time that Boca Juniors actually won the Copa Libertadores back in 2007, whereas only 3 years ago River Plate lifted that trophy against each other in the competition. So you can see there, Boca Juniors hold the upper hand, 10 wins to River Plate 7 and 7 draws. So as you mentioned before, and I will show you again, the pitch was not the best. As you can see there, the people working hard there to get the rain off. The actual Bombonera looks really bad. Yeah. And I should have brought some other pictures. You see the pictures that there.
I've seen some worse pictures on social media.
There's other photographs of just complete flooding within the stands.
Yeah.
So it was going to be impossible to do that today. Fingers crossed that won't be the case tomorrow. The weather forecast does suggest that it will be pretty bad. Hopefully not as bad as today. But as I mentioned before, I do not see them cancelling that again. Regardless of the weather conditions, we could be in for a very interesting and soggy game of football.
Should be quite a meaty affair.
Yeah. So River Plate went through to the final after beating Gremio. A controversial penalty in the 90th minute in the second leg in Brazil meant that River Plate came out winners. What did you think of the decision by VAR?
I mean, it was a handball. It was a handball, but I think it's quite harsh to give the penalty for that. I mean, they did have his hands, kind of near his face.
Contact was kind of close. The ball didn't go much of a distance,
Yeah.
so it was unfair in the sense that the player didn't really have much time to actually move his hand out of the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's so unfortunate for Grêmio having to go out on away goals. I think it was away goals, and in the 90th minute is just heartbreaking for them. And good on River Plate.
But from a neutral perspective, I'm glad that River Plate qualified to the final because I mean it's only I don't know when this will happen again or if it will ever happen again. River Plate Boca Juniors is like one of the biggest derbies there is. So for it to be in this stage, this kind of platform is just amazing. And
well, I mean, socially and politically, and this is the biggest. Well, I was saying to Stuart, this is the biggest club game in the history of football. Two fierce rivals, probably some of the fiercest you can ever imagine in world football. If you look at the Champions League finals, we've had derbies such as Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich, I think 2013, I think it was. And then we've also had Juve Milan in the past. But again, although they're rivals, this is not the same thing. Boca Juniors, River Plate is huge. Two big clubs, fanatical support, famous stadiums as well. Everyone knows the El Monumental and the La Bombonera. And this could be a firecracker of a game, and the last Copa Libertadores to be played over 2 legs. So very fitting that we're seeing these two stadiums representing South American football in the final of this game, essentially. Yeah, no,
it's true. And you drew upon the point that it's the last game where there's 2 legs, and it's going back to a European kind of model. And we were talking about the history behind these teams. I mean, Boca Juniors is traditionally known as more of the working class kind of club, whereas River Plate has always been, they're known as Los Millonarios, which implies that they're seen as the one with more money.
Yeah, the rich team.
Rich team, and that was more the case back in the early 20th century, around the 1930s, when actually River Plate had much more money than Boca Juniors, and were able to attract really top talent from across South America. So they were seen as more representing the upper classes, and there was that kind of class divide. But that isn't necessarily the case nowadays. I think Boca Juniors and River Plate, they all benefited from a very a bloated transfer market these days from big European teams spending a lot of big money to attract players. So now it's kind of even. But in terms of the class divide, it isn't quite there actually anymore. It's quite mixed in terms of their fan base. But it's interesting to know where the actual fans came from and the kind of history behind it.
I mean, the game's so big. I think I read somewhere 2,500 media pass requests were made, and I think they only have space for maybe even 20% of that. I mean, it's ridiculous. The effect that this fixture has had on people, fans, media. I mean, even I was extremely surprised to find out a couple of days ago. Excuse me, that not with one, but 2 UK channels are actually showing the Libertadores final, which I can't ever remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. The final ever been broadcast even on one.
You don't even get Copa America being shown on UK TV.
Yeah, I mean,
you're lucky sometimes to get maybe on one of these obscure channels on the UK showing Copa America, but it's not usually the case, is it?
It's just strange because I mean, in the UK you get stuff like the African nations. The Asian Champions League, they're even shown on television. But South America, like the heart of football, really, you could say.
England fans will probably disagree with you there. But we know what we're talking about. We know what we're
True,
saying.
But like things like that, we've done this before. We touched on this. The creation of the Copa America essentially was a catalyst for the creation of the World Cup. I mean, that was how that tournament came about, and the Copa America being the oldest international football tournament. Essentially started off international, not just international football competition, but club-wise as well. Copa Libertadores is the 58th year that it's been about. It's a very prestigious competition, and it doesn't get the coverage like it should do in the UK.
No, it doesn't. No.
So as I say, it was a complete surprise when Free Sports actually announced that they will be showing that, which I thought was great. And then literally the next day, BT Sport announced...
playing catch-up.
Well, they stole Free Sports thunder, to be fair, and given that BT Sport are actually showing their games on HD, you can imagine who most people will be watching.
Yeah, it's a good marketing strategy from Free Sports. I didn't even know they existed, to be honest, until they decided to air the game.
Now everyone knows about them.
Now, more people know about them. So it's a clever strategy from that channel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not too sure what other things they show. I think I saw when I went on Free Sports, I think they were showing some random sports there as well.
Oh yeah, no, they've got some great stuff. They've got bull riding from America. Yeah, like actual bull riding. The World Championships. They've got a pool tournament where it's set in a pub.
Really?
No joke. You see the bar in the background. So I love it. Sport for free on television. Why not? Why the hell not? They're doing it. I think they're the sister channel to Premier Sport, who incidentally used to show Copa Libertadores before we get told that they'll show it in the UK. Obviously, Premier Sport is another sports channel, an extra cost, and not a very popular channel in that sense. And the coverage was very, very limited, very basic. So it's unfortunate that someone like Sky Sports, BT Sport, BBC, ITV, none of them actually want to buy the rights to it. I remember a few years back, I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, Channel 5 used to have coverage of the Argentinian League, which was great. But
they used to also show Europa League now. And I mean, we're going a bit off topic here, but we're saying that it's not like what Wales used to be back in the day when you had BBC, ITV showing Champions League games, and now, you know, Sky Sports, BT Sports, all these other challenges have come into the market, and just, you know, paying. I mean, it's probably good for the clubs because they get more money now.
Of course.
But it's just, you know, the average person that hasn't got, not average person, but a lot of people don't have Sky or BT Sport because they just can't afford it.
Yeah.
And they're priced out of actually watching the game they love. But I know it's got a bit off topic.
No, that's fine though. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to talk about because South American football is great to watch. I'm not saying it's a particularly pretty type of football. I think that's the whole point. You get all kinds of teams involved, from the Boca Juniors and River Plates to the lower end teams. I think the Argentinian League has 30 teams in it, so you can imagine the spread of skill level.
And also, you're probably likely to see the next up and coming big thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Leo Messi.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to Barcelona quite young, but he was also playing. Newell's Old Boys, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think he.
Yeah, I don't think they actually play.
No.
But you got other players like Sergio Aguero. You got so much talent that's actually started in South American, the Brazilian, and the Argentinian leagues. And it's just a shame you can't really see how they start. You only really get to see them when they're actually in Europe and you know, doing well.
Given as well how the popularity now of people wanting to see these young players from the beginning of their careers, I think if they were to show South American football more often in UK television, especially, I'm sure it might be the similar thing around Europe as well. People most likely to watch them, and there is a case of people saying, "Oh, the games are 12, 1 in the morning." Fine, don't show them live. Show them the next day on a prime time hour. People will watch it. I'm sure if there's nothing else clashing with it, or even a highlight show, and people will watch it. And I'm sure the coverage there will be a lot cheaper as well than having to show it live. So,
I mean, they used to have. I remember back in the day when they had on Saturday morning they had Golazzo.
Yes.
I found that a really good thing to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually it kind of died out and they stopped showing it, probably because not enough people watched it on a Saturday morning. But I think if you talk to most people that love football, they will remember Golazzo. They'll remember the theme tune behind Golazzo, and it just shows that having maybe a highlight show is attractive and could work. So I mean, why not try
Football
it?
Mundial as well. Wasn't that something that used to be on terrestrial? Now it's on Sky, I think. But
It used to be on terrestrial. Oh,
I think it used to be on Channel 4.
Okay, I remember it more from like the Sky Sports 1 showing it, but I don't really see that these days. Not that I don't watch much TV these days, to be honest. It just shows that there's an appetite to watch these kind of highlight international shows about other football, other continents, and the kind of football they play.
Well, I mean, my argument is they show like nearly every other continent on television. Why not South American? But anyway, that's something that they should do. I mean, now that free sports are around, maybe they should take advantage of that. To be fair to them, they did have coverage of the Brazilian Cup, so that their version of the FA Cup, that was great. I mean, no one else was showing that. I think BT Sport did used to have games from the Brazilian League. I haven't seen that lately. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They used to have that. Yeah,
just more of that would be great. That would be fantastic. And as I said, it's great that two channels are actually putting in the effort to show La Copa Libertadores final. It's going to be a big game. Unfortunately, it wasn't today. We were really looking forward to that, I'm sure, as everyone else was. But tomorrow will be a big game. And, I mean, as I said, I think it's the biggest club game in world football ever, to be honest with you. I think the only other one that can kind of compete, maybe in terms of rivalry for a final, was the Flamengo Fluminense final 1963, 200,000 people. The rivalry between those two clubs is huge. Obviously, Brazil being one of the biggest countries in the world as well. So they have a lot of support, not just in Brazil, but around the globe. But that's the only one I can think that can match it, really, in terms of prestige. I mean...
But I think it's a shame that you haven't got away fans I mean, we spoke about it before, but it's a shame that you haven't got away fans now in this fixture. Because I was thinking if River Plate were to, pull off a shock and actually win La Bombonera, where's the noise going to come from? You just hear silence when River Plate scores. So it's a bit strange.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was mentioning to you before that as well. If it goes, let's say it's a whitewash. Let's say Boca Juniors are just up 4-0 and the game is finished. River Plate don't have a chance of coming back in, and something like that. I have a really bad feeling that something could go down. Maybe the River Plate fans will try and stop the game in the Monumental. Obviously, if they're winning, it won't be anything like that. But anything can happen. We've seen it before. Fans trying to stop in games in Argentina was nothing new when the away fans were there a few years ago. Yeah. So fingers crossed it doesn't go down like that, and the whole world can watch a beautiful game of football. Very limited, beautiful game of football, considering the pitch will be bad. Yeah,
doesn't matter how much effort they put into trying to get that pitch, up and running. There'll be issues with it. If
there's one tip I could probably give you, if you're a betting person, I'd probably say put your money on at least 5 yellow cards and 1 red between the 2 games.
I think the bar would be much higher than that in terms of having a minimum. I'd probably be definitely 7-8 yellow cards in the first game, let alone both. But
can see something happening there, But yeah, anyway, that's our preview for the Copa Libertadores final. First leg, as we said, will be rescheduled for tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Boca versus River Plate at La Bombonera. We won't be on. We were going to do a live match analysis and reaction during the game. That's not going to happen now. But Soccer Sanchez TV is back.
Actually, before we go off, predictions.
Predictions, man. Are we doing this next Saturday? We're doing it live.
Yeah.
So all right. So the first leg,
save it.
The first leg prediction. Oh man, because the pitch is so rubbish. I will say it will be 1-1.
So that's a safe one. What about cards? Yellow cards, red cards. The first game.
5 for Boca, 3 for River.
Red cards.
Red cards.
I can definitely see red cards. I
can see Barrios getting into trouble. Yeah. I'm just on that point actually. I think Perez, Nandez, and Pavon are on yellows for Boca Juniors. So if any of them get a yellow card, then it's curtain to them, and they all miss the second leg. So yeah, what was your prediction?
My prediction. I'm going with the Boca Juniors win, 2-1. 2-1. Yeah. I think Pavon might steal the limelight there.
Yeah. Tevez off the bench maybe. Little tapping.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Tevez actually.
Little chicken dance.
Yeah.
Benedito as well.
Dario Benedetto. It's a big players that might not start. But Tevez, I can definitely see Tevez having a role to play in these ties.
Yeah.
But it just shows that there is strength and depth in that side.
Yeah.
And also River Plate because we haven't got Quintero on our predicted.
Yeah, true. So Quintero could be the magic man if he comes off the bench. This is our prediction for the starting lineup. He could actually start the game, so we'll see what happens there. So is that everything? Anything else you want to input?
No.
I think we're done here. Soccer Sanchez TV is back. Thank you for watching. Apologies if the stream hasn't been perfect. I will be uploading this on video as well, so hopefully that will be clear. And if you are watching this on YouTube or Twitch, please follow, subscribe, like, love us, comment, everything. Let us know what you think of the videos and any topics in particular you'd like us to talk about. So from myself, Soccer Sanchez, and Stu Gets Goals, follow us on Twitter, all that lovely stuff. And it's been emotional. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.